Question number 2 here says, assume that two firms are operating with identical cost curves, but one firm is in perfect competition and the other is a monopolistically competitive industry. So let's go ahead and draw those two graphs. And so I drew my price and quantity, put my marginal revenue curve in there, the marginal cost curve, and then I just need to put my average cost curve in there, and of course it hits where MR equals MC, so there's not a loss or a profit. And I only need to draw one graph, not the side-by-side one, because they're asking for long-run equilibrium. So then I just need to draw the one graph. Now we need to draw a monopolistic competition graph right next to it. Remember that the demand curve is kind of flat. The marginal revenue curve lies below it. We put in our marginal cost curve. And then we can identify our output and our price. And then again, I always put a little dot there showing that the average cost curve runs tangent to that line and over. And that shows monopolistic competition and perfect competition. Again, monopolistic competition looks similar to a monopoly, but the average cost curve is at the price there instead of below it, which is what a monopoly would look like. And then it just says, compare the long-run equilibrium and price and output levels for these two firms. Well, one thing you could note is that, again, marginal cost curve equals the supply curve. So for monopolistic competition, really we would be operating right at this point there if it's perfect competition, where marginal cost equals demand, just like on the perfect competition graph. And so what we can say is, well, if I compare the price here where this yellow dot is, the price is higher and the output is lower for monopolistic competition. Then it says, what level of economic profit will each firm earn in the long run? Well, both of their average cost curves are tangent to the point, the price, and therefore they would be making normal economic profits, and this occurs because it is easy to enter and exit the market. Finally, the last letter there, D, for each of the two firms at the equilibrium quantity, indicate whether a firm's demand curve is perfectly elastic, unielastic, inelastic, or perfectly inelastic. And how can you tell? Well, for the demand curve for perfect competition, we know it's perfectly elastic because it has a horizontal demand curve, and so that would be perfectly elastic. And for monopolistic competition, we know that it's pretty flat demand curve because there's lots of substitutes, and therefore the monopolistic competition one is elastic. And those are the answers to number 2.